Ah, it's a phone. I'll get it.
Morning, George, dear.
What was once the stuff of futuristic dreams is now an everyday reality. The availability of smartphones and tablets means we can connect, communicate, and share anytime, anywhere. That has led to a spike in data traffic. Overall, mobile traffic grew by 159% in 2010 and rose another 133% last year. That's a huge surge, and as CNN Money's David Goldman explains, current telecommunication systems are having a hard time keeping up.
Imagine the way that you connect like a digital highway. So anytime that you're getting on the network, you're driving down a highway. You always were able to connect, but that was on a wire. Now you're connecting wirelessly. And to do that, everyone has to get on a cell tower. And especially in a park like this, where everyone is trying to connect, that eats up a lot of bandwidth. And it's much more difficult to do it wirelessly.
That bandwidth lives on the radio spectrum, a fixed range of frequencies between 3 kilohertz and 300 gigahertz, controlled by the federal government. It's a large area used for many different types of communication. But only a small section is good for video. Within that small section is an even smaller band, 700 to 800 megahertz, that's best for sending material over the mobile phone network. Some refer to it as the beachfront property of spectrum.
As more and more of us jump on mobile devices, that desirable area of spectrum is getting all jammed up. Telecommunications experts say it is simply not possible to build out more.
There is a finite amount, and even more importantly, only a limited amount of it is actually viable to use for communications. That's because certain frequencies bounce off of buildings or don't penetrate walls and wouldn't be usable for us.
Developments like 4G, smart antennas, and small portable cell tower beacons are helping move more data faster, squeezing the most out of existing spectrum. Critics say carriers have been too slow to adopt these new technologies, preferring instead to fight for exclusive rights to more spectrum. The Federal Communications Commission, which regulates the telecommunications industry in the U.S., says a combination of adding new technologies and licensing more spectrum are needed if we're to avoid capacity problems.
What happens if more and more of us buy this stuff and want to get on and we don't have any more room on that data highway, on the spectrum? What's going to happen?
Well, you're going to see more dropped calls. You're going to see slower speeds for connection. And the worst part, the unsavory part for consumers is that carriers are going to start to limit your ability to connect to their network. So you're starting to see it already where AT&T and Verizon and other carriers are tiering prices so that once you hit a certain limit, they cap your data, they start to throttle back your speed, and that's the unfortunate reality is that they're really, in effect, raising prices.
The spectrum crunch isn't just a U.S. problem. Densely populated urban areas around the world and crowds at any large event like a concert are vulnerable to capacity problems. Dan Hayes says to ultimately resolve the capacity problem, consumers must treat spectrum like the limited natural resource it is.
As consumers use their mobile networks, they should be conscious of whether they are connected to the cellular network or their home network. Whether they're using an older technology or a newer, more efficient technology. These things will all have a great impact on the efficiency of networks. And what consumers should really be watching out for is if we don't make better use of the cellular networks and our spectrum resources, we should all be expecting that our prices are going to go up.
Maggie Lake, CNN, New York.